Who says online users are a bunch of anti-social geeks? Look, here we are in this nice cafe, drink in hand, friendly people, and we're surfing the net. This is the Icon Bite Bar and Grill in San Francisco, where you get the best of both worlds, real people and virtual people. You can come in here and sit down, have a drink, socialize, and check out some cool websites, look at your email, or log on to your favorite news groups. Today,
everything is connected. And I don't mean that in a pseudo-spiritual holistic sort of sense. I mean literally, everything is connected. That is, on the internet. From what you like on YouTube, Spotify, Netflix and 9gag becoming a tweet, to what you tweet becoming a Facebook status, along with your Snapchats, Instagrams, Tumblrs, Tinders, and every other social media hub with a flashy name you can think of, all that have been created by the time you finish watching this documentary, everything is connected. But what if the connectivity runs deeper than that? I mean, sure, that post you made about your friend who did that funny thing 5 years ago that you sort of had to be there to actually find funny is still there. But what if everything, and I mean everything, even the things you deleted, even the stuff others put up about you, never went away?
So the term digital footprint is one of those things that emerged when people started thinking about the traces we leave online. And it's just a term that describes the stuff about you or about your activities that stays as you use the network in any way, whether it's emails or tweets or Snapchats that haven't been deleted or Facebook posts. So the term digital footprint is an attempt just to summarise everything about you that stays, that remains online after you've stopped doing the thing you're doing, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
When one drives down the information superhighway, they always leave a little DNA of themselves behind. Or in the case of those with little to no care of their own or others' well-being, they leave big piles of garbage behind for someone else to pick up. Potential friends, employers, teachers, colleagues, everyone can have the chance to figure out what kind of person you are just from your digital footprint before you even get the chance to shake their hand. With over 7,000 million people currently existing in the physical realm, over 3,000 million take residency in the digital realm in some form. Were you so inclined, you could learn the identification and personal information of over 40% of the entire population of the planet without ever meeting them face to face. Granted, it might take you a decade or two, and by then another 1,000 million would have taken residency on the internet, but that would be the only thing stopping you. Well, that and a secure internet connection.
People believe that they have a great deal of control over what they put on the internet. I think they often don't understand that actually a lot of what they put on any site can be grabbed and used by other people, and you know, shows like Catfish show that how you can grab and use information people have put on the internet, and a lot of people just don't seem aware that that can be done, so they're catfished. But in relation to privacy, I think that's kind of an interesting thing in that your implication that people don't realise that there is no such thing as privacy on the internet.
I have a bit of a thing about the fact that we're so paranoid and obsessed today with privacy, and yet really privacy is something that's only come about since the Industrial Revolution and people started moving en masse into cities. So, you know, there's a whole thing to talk about there, about are we expecting too much? Is it really as scary and dangerous as people are making out to, you know, kind of share your identity on Facebook or your child's identity?
The interesting thing about the internet is it's about moving data around, and people think, oh yeah, files get copied from one place to another. But when you move a file or send an email or send a tweet or update Facebook, you type something or do something on your computer, and then a server somewhere is changed as a result of that. And that process leaves lots of records. When you send an email, it goes through lots of different servers called exchange servers on the way from your machine to the person who reads it. When you update Facebook, the information might be captured in a cache in your browser, it'll be captured by Facebook. We have all this digital stuff around. Some of it is about identifiable people, and at the moment we don't know what will happen to it in the long term. So digital footprints could stay around for a very long time.
In one experiment, one of our team gave up social media for a week to see how it affects their daily life, and to see if we truly are this self-surveilling nation.
It's Monday night. I've been without social media for about 8 hours now, and I'm kind of terrified because for the next week I'm not going to be able to access Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. I'm expecting this to be really hard because I do use all of them quite often, like multiple times a day, and I'm expecting to be really bored as well, so we'll see.
Day 2 without social media. It's going alright. It's not too bad. I thought it would be harder. But I do keep taking out my phone and try to log into Facebook. I try just opening the app and then I realise I deactivated it.
Day 3 without social media. Still pretty easy, but now it's starting to creep up on me that I might be missing out on something. I just feel that I'm not a part of something anymore.
So that notion of intimacy on the internet is an odd one, because people often communicate with other people, supposing that they can be intimate with other people via the internet in a way that they could be face to face. But the thing about intimacy is that it is often defined by spontaneity, and the act in the moment and not being recorded is really what would make it intimate, because it's meant to be between 2 or maybe 3 individuals, but intimacy is defined by not having many people involved. And so intimacy on the internet is a very odd idea, an odd phenomenon, yet people think they can achieve it in a one-to-many way, and that they can, say, do a confession to camera, and anybody could see that and they're being intimate with that person, but they're not, because intimacy also entails the knowledge of the other that you're talking to.
It's Thursday and I've been without Facebook and Twitter since Monday morning. Still kind of good, but now I'm kind of starting to get really anxious and sort of sad about the fact that I can't share some things with my family and friends.
It's now Friday. I'm almost done with my week without social media. And to be honest, I'm kind of ready to be back on Facebook, Twitter. I'm really bored, and those moments where I don't have anything to do, I just really sort of want to go on Facebook and talk to people.
Almost done with my week without social media. It's now Saturday. Ran into a bit kind of problem today because my friend forgot her phone at my place earlier today. So how was I supposed to contact her?
So it's my last night without Facebook and Twitter, and I'm really happy about that. So tomorrow morning I can reactivate my accounts, and it's gonna be so nice. My friend did get her phone back, but it was a bit weird not knowing when she'll arrive and if I'll be able to hear her knock on the door. I do realise how much I use Facebook now. I seem to be online all the time, and I don't know if that's a good thing. But at the same time, it makes things so much easier for me. It makes so much easier for me to contact my family and friends who are abroad in another country. And also, it's just so nice to be able to share things with them.
Gone are the days where only celebrities would have to worry about being ousted by the media and the general public and be a prime target for a witch hunt. If you or anyone you know is in some way privy to social media and have done something immoral, insensitive, unintelligent, or if you've ever been ugly at some point in your life, you could very well be up next to be scorned by people you never knew existed. From teens that didn't realise James Cameron's Titanic was based on a true story, to ex-girlfriends having their private photos be used to slut-shame them, to straight white boys being called out for their misogynistic flirting, and photos of people becoming memes without any control of how they're depicted. The biggest case to be made for this was when in 2012, amateur filmmakers, or con artists, set up a flashy smear campaign to take advantage of people's need to look charitable and aware on the internet for profitability, through a constant reminder that they could be active members of this cause solely through social media. Andy Warhol's 15 minutes of fame remark never ruled out the possibility you would hate every single minute of it you got.
Well, I've got moves information for the last year about every place I've been, so that's pretty accurate. Does it tell you much about me? Yeah, but what you might infer from where I've been, different people might infer different things, but I like to have the data available for me because it's useful to be able to know where I've been on each day.
Employers and potential employers can research you online, so nowadays you need to think a bit, I think, about who you are online and what sort of things you do and say online.
As an experiment, several photos and Facebook statuses of yours truly have been printed off to be shown to the public to see how they react to me, without knowing me or having me be there to witness their reaction.
What's your first impression? Looks kind of like, sociable.
Interesting.
He's clearly the funny guy of the group.
He's quite different. Not someone I would necessarily associate with myself.
He seems to be having a lot of fun, but yeah, I wouldn't take him very seriously. Yeah.
Do you think he represents himself well on the internet?
No.
If he's wanting to represent himself as an idiot, then yeah.
He represents himself in a way that is very unique.
Yeah. It's not like a bad presentation either.
So I'm normal but quite different.
Back in the 80s and 90s, when having HIV, being HIV positive, was a really worrying thing because the chances are you were going to die quite quickly before we had the various drug cocktails that have extended the life of people with HIV, laws were passed to say that insurance companies could not ask you about your HIV status, could not look at records of whether you'd even been tested for HIV. And that was done by regulation, so that it was illegal for them to do that, and if they did it, there would be a claim, the claim could be made against you. And I think that now that we live in, particularly here in the West, in a society that is so shaped by what we do online, that the solution is not going to be technical solutions that can be got around by people, but laws that respect people's online activity and that basically say it's wrong.
There's a big world out there and people can access a lot of information about you. But I do think it's good for people to be able to fight to have blatant lies or libels removed about themselves. I think that is a good idea.
I think that the right to forget has really confused people because there was a case in Spain where somebody wanted the right to have true information erased. So I think if information is true, then it shouldn't. I don't like the idea about sort of burning history. So I think that free speech is really important, and the preservation of history is really important. But where things are inaccurate, I think we always have had libel laws and slander laws, and I think that those should also work on the web.
Another thing that will make a difference, of course, is that within 5 or 10 years, everybody interviewing you for a job will also have a really extensive digital footprint, and there will be embarrassing photos of them necking Carlsberg lager on a beach with no clothes on and an inappropriate person wrapped around them. And that will be your ammunition. So the real openness will come where you have to have the names of the interview panel in advance so you can find out all the embarrassing stuff about them, so that if they come up with embarrassing stuff about you, you can just come back to them. Now that, of course, is just a new version of sort of a war, and it probably wouldn't end well. But it might possibly stop people doing it.
In spite of all this horror and terror that we have suggested now completely controls your life, there are still many positives to the digital age that counterbalance the negatives. From someone like Maria having the ability to connect with relatives or loved ones thousands of miles away, to many activist groups gaining mass popularity and being able to change some parts of the world for the better. Racial, gender and sexual equality are spread and accepted around the world as fast as racism, sexism and discrimination against sexuality. We exchange and give out knowledge so we can all have a better understanding of how and why we live. or even we just document our lives so we can look back and smile. This digital footprint won't necessarily automatically brand you a terrible human being. All the good you do is mixed in with all the bad to make a relatively honest portrait of the type of person you are. Maybe this will not affect you as drastically as it affects others, but with all things, everyone obsesses over their legacy. So, imagine, if you will, your grave. Only this isn't the traditional stone tablet with your name, birth, and death on it. This one is interactive. It's a touchscreen gravestone tablet, and anyone walking past it can interact with it and access your entire digital footprint. All you have posted and have had posted about you can now be seen by your children, your children's children, or even just wandering inquisitors. What sort of person would they think you were? What kind of legacy would you leave behind? This isn't meant to scare you into becoming a better or more civil person. Rather, it's to make you consider the fact that thanks to the digital footprint, your second's death will be prolonged to unfathomable lengths. So, think about the type of person you want to be remembered as, and be that person. Because the internet is always watching. Or not, you never know. To be honest, there's a very good chance no one really cares about what you have to say, but that's a whole other thing you should probably be concerned about. For now, just think before you speak and have a nice day.
All right, that's our look at the internet. In fact, just a little glance at the tip of the cyberspace iceberg. Thanks for joining us. I'm Stuart Chaffee. Hope to see you here again next time on the Computer Chronicles.